All steps for man. Science for
Let's go.
Good evening, everyone. It is the end of November. Oh, the silly season is upon us. Are you ready for December yet, everyone? No, I'm not either. So how's everyone feeling? I'm gonna give you my own personal here. I've been down and out for 36 hours with a migraine, the likes of which I haven't had in many, many years. And apparently, either I'm highly contagious and I gave it to everyone across the world, or it was some incredible phenomenon where people all over the world got smacked down with massive migraines, headaches, sinus pain through here, and feeling like your body's been beaten by a baseball bat. And since I don't know of a single virus that can travel all over the world and manifest in, like, I was going to say the four corners of the planet, but you know what I mean. Every continent type thing, all at the same time, I'm going to say there was something going on, something magnetic, energetic, etc. I wasn't going to do a show tonight because I was literally feeling that rough, so this will probably be quite a short one tonight. But I want to talk about this. Now, we started the conversation, 3 weeks ago? First week of November, going, what the fuck? Where are we? What fucking universe are we in this time? And it honestly feels there was that massive shift, wave, jump, loop, whatever you want to fucking call it then. But since then, there's been at least two more. We had another one on Monday. And these have been incredible because it's been people, we talk about things like, oh, all of a sudden you feel really woozy or you feel dizzy or you have different physical symptoms of these things. But then we have the other symptoms that come through. And that's things like the what the fuck effects that you have in your own personal life. So I literally on Monday felt really strange. I had a very, very weird sleep the night before, strange dreams. Monday felt really, really weird, surreal, detached, surreal, like almost like you're getting up and you're doing your daily kind of shit, but you really don't feel like you're there, if that makes any sense. And I had to go run around, do a whole pile of stuff on Monday. I was out and about doing shopping. I've got a friend visiting from Spain at the moment. So, taking him out for lunch, etc. And I got home and I take off. I'm sitting on the edge of my bed to take off my shoes. I've been wearing these shoes for a year. I wear them all the time. Pretty fucking familiar with my shoes. And I unzipped the little side zip and I looked at the shoe and went, the fuck? Well, that's not fucking right. And there's a pattern that goes around the ankle, and they've got a little inner side zip to pull them on and off easier. And the pattern is gone on one quarter of the ankle. And I'm looking at this going, no. And I look at the other shoe and it's the same thing. It's missing this one section of pattern. It's just gone. I'm just like, no. I know what my fucking shoes looked like. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Busy day. You get on with shit. You're doing other stuff. Sat down Monday evening, went to post out our video from Sunday nights from watching the movie. And I go to post it out. And I've bitched and complained about this quite a few times. We have, when we lost the websites last December 2017, when RTS Earth came back up, we had a glitch, and it caused a whole bunch of little problems. And I was able to do workarounds for most of them. But one glitch is that every single time I post an article, a new post goes up. Usually you click publish, and it either flips it so it's on the edit page, or it flips it to the article you've just published. And what it's been doing for the last year is it goes to an error, bizarre error, page not found, etc. So I have to basically retype in RTS Earth again and go find the article to post it out. I go to publish it on Monday night, hit publish, and it fucking published perfectly. Perfectly. As if the glitch just magically disappeared. And no one's changed it. We haven't changed anything. We've done no updates in the plugins. Nothing has been done to the site that would make this change happen. So I put a post up saying, what the fuck? Apparently, we've just slid into some other fucking timeline, dimension, universe, parallel world, mirror world, whatever you want to fucking call it. And I've had a shit ton of messages from people saying, holy shit, having very, very specific things like that happening to them. One of them is a friend of mine. We've had an ongoing conversation for about 8 months because he's building his website and he'll do work, and then all of a sudden shit would happen. We'd have some kind of weird shift, and he'd go back and find all the work that he'd done is different. And he woke up Monday morning, booted up the computer, and his website has now reverted back to the way it was months and months ago, including his logo, is now back to what he had designed months and months ago, which he hasn't used in months. And he said to me, no, you're right, something fucking happened, because this is not my logo, it's not my website, it's not my, like, what the fuck? So I got a bunch of messages like this, and I ended up meeting up with a bunch of friends. Here and there as you're going around, friends who I haven't talked to, who don't follow our shows, who are not they're pretty fucking with it, but they're not following the kind of shit that we follow and discuss day in and day out. And then one friend of mine tells me what she's been going through for the last few months. And it's all the epic insanity that we're going through. To the point of same thing, having something on Monday, she had her purse disappear in her house. She came home, she put it down on the table, she walked to the fridge to put the milk away in the fridge, turned around, and her purse was fucking gone. And she still hasn't found it yet. She knows it was there, and her daughter walked in behind her, and her daughter saw her put it on the table. Her daughter walked to the living room to put something down, walked back in and said, Mom, where's your purse? Just disappeared. So the other thing that we're seeing is epically fucked up weather. And I mean, we talk about the weather all the time. I mean, that's how boring we are. We talk about the weather. We talk about the weather all the time. And we talked about things like the big flood in Saudi Arabia last week. Do you know that Saudi Arabia had a snowstorm this week? Snow in the desert like this. Victoria, Australia, which is their summertime right now, got this much snow yesterday or the day before. Floods in Sydney, Australia, like massive, massive thunderstorm floods. We're here in Malta. We've just gotten our asses handed to us in a massive storm here, to the point of it. The village I live in, it's on the seafront, looks like we've had a hurricane. There's like the rocks, the ocean was so big, the waves, they were throwing boulders out of the ocean onto the roads. That's how big it was. Tornadoes in Italy. Someone just sent me a video of 4 waterspouts touching down at the exact same time, just off the coast of Thailand. And all the people are on the beach going, what the fuck? Okay, so there you go. Jules just said 138 wildfires in Queensland and massive evacuations in North Queensland. We've got of course, we've been talking about the California wildfires, etc. We are seeing shit that is off the charts, fucking insane at the moment. Now, one of the other things that I actually had a call. It was myself. And you guys remember back in, I think it was August, there was the massive earthquake in Japan, in Hokkaido. And it was a big one. It was like a 7-pointer. And it was all the news. The news carries it. They always, oh yeah, big earthquake in Japan. Nothing else is said. Now, my cousin lives in Hokkaido. And after 2 months of trying to get in touch with her, I finally managed to get in touch with her. And she tells me because her husband's a police inspector. So he had to go to the epicenter to go with all the rescue missions. And it was so fucking bad, the earthquake, that all the emergency people then had to be taken for emotional counseling and PTSD. It was that bad. Her husband, who's a very, very tough police inspector, detective, had an emotional breakdown. That's how bad. Now, did any one of you hear on the news about mass devastation in Hokkaido, Japan from the earthquake? Nothing.
I have not. I've never heard of this that you just told me. Like, I've ever heard on this on the news or seen it on a website.
It was on the news. This is what I'm getting to. There are these epic disasters happening all over the fucking planet right now. And the news has to report on them because if they don't, they get called out for their bullshit. So they have to at the very least say, yes, there was a 7.1 earthquake in Hokkaido, Japan. Yes, there was a volcano that has blown up in Guatemala. But they're not reporting any more on it. It's like if they just mention it once and then just keep going, people will just forget about it. They won't dwell on it. They won't remember it. Do you know how many people died? And does anyone remember the volcano blowing up in Guatemala this summer? There was like 45,000 people died. Did you hear about it? No. Okay, the massive flooding in Vietnam right now. Vietnam, it's their dry season. This is the beautiful, sunny, lovely, delightfully dry season in Vietnam. Massive floods. Like all over the country. No one's hearing about it. Oh, really? Fiji? Seriously? Okay, hold on. When was that? Give me 2 seconds, everyone. I got to look this up. Go to the EMSC. Bear with me, guys.
Was Hawaii this year? The volcano? Yeah. Because that's the only volcanic I heard, but I heard that other volcanoes were going up. I didn't hear about Fiji.
Yeah, Fiji a few days ago on the 18th was the 6.6, and there's a lot of echoes through it. But there was a shit ton over Iraq and Iran. Holy shit, there was a 6.1 in the Caribbean on the 25th. I didn't see that either. 6.1 in the Caribbean is fucking significant, like seriously significant. So we're seeing these things. It's very obvious the mainstream media is not reporting on this shit. Or if they do, they give it a very brief coverage, just enough to be able to say, yes, they covered the news, but there's no attention is put on this stuff. Now, they don't want us to focus on it. Exactly. Well, Linda, what happens if we all focus on it? If we started actually going, oh my God, X many thousand people just died here, X many thousand people just died here, there's a volcano here, there's an earthquake over here, here, and here, and then people are going to, if people, and I'm talking mainstream, the general public, if this was actually being reported on properly, the general public would probably be in a complete fucking panic by now. Because this is not even remotely normal, right? So they don't want us to be thinking about it, because here's my thing, as I keep saying over and over. When you have all the weather shit, storms cropping up, floods, droughts, thunderstorms, tornadoes, they can spin that, quite literally, into global warming or climate change, assign it a value, a dollar value, and say, oh, well, we're going to, Paris Accords, we're going to do this, we're going to spend all this money to help stop climate change. But you can't spin doctor earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis. Did anyone hear about the tsunami that hit Tenerife that we talked about last week? Wasn't in any mainstream news, nowhere. Now, on all the little alternative places, it was all over the place. Did anyone know that on the 14th and 15th of November, St. John's, Newfoundland, got hit with 15 and 20 meter tall waves on the east coast of Canada? No, you didn't.
No.
Nope. Even most Canadians didn't know about it. I was shocked when I had to go look and dig. I found local news stories out of St. John's, Newfoundland. No one else reported on it. There was no cross Canada reports. Okay, Newfoundland and Labrador, we're talking some big ass fucking waves all the time. This is the east coast of the Atlantic, the northeast coast of the Atlantic. It gets rough. But when all of a sudden they're getting hit with 20 meters for everyone in Imperial, that's 60-foot tall waves. 60-foot tall waves. Flooding out the entire coastline. No, that's not grab your surfboard. That's fucking, like, seriously hunker down and find someplace to go. You can't explain these things.
Hi, Danny.
Yeah.
But they used to feed off of this stuff. Like, whenever
oh,
disaster,
sure.
I remember they used to be like, disaster.
Nepal.
This is having breaking news.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. But, okay, because then you could distract. See, I honestly think there was a tipping point. There was a moment there when the Nepal disaster happened and the earthquake happened in Nepal. And they used that as a major distraction. The news ran nothing but stories about Nepal. And while everyone was focusing on Nepal, no one was looking at the financial crisis shit. No one was looking at the political shit. No one was, right? But it's like they've reached a limit where now the geological extremes have reached a level now that they can't. And they've probably been told, no, don't talk about it. You are not to talk about this fucking shit. We can't have the general public putting 2 + 2 + 2 + 2 + 2 together and coming up with a number that says we're fucked. We have got some serious fucking shit going on, and it ain't global warming, and it ain't climate change, right? Now Linda, now they want us looking at the political shit. They're keeping us completely distracted with that. Oh, what's the other thing that's going on right now? How many of you know that the financial market is in complete collapse this month? How many of you know that the stock market is literally in complete shambles, and it is so fucking bad financially, globally this month that it's insane? And I'm not talking alternative media and private. I'm talking the numbers. I'm talking mainstream. If you're looking at what's going on in the markets, it has been fucking crushed, the markets this month. Okay? No one's talking about it. They put up little articles like in the Wall Street Journal and in Bloomberg and things like that. They're like, oh, well, the Dow's down 500 points, but, and they'll try and spin something else in there to make it sound not so bad. But what you don't realize is the Dow was down 500 points, but that's 500 points on top of the 500 points they were down the week before, and the 1,000 points they were down a couple of days before that, right? So we've got an incredible game of distraction going on in the media. And the alternative media is fucking seriously playing into this, or just as guilty as the mainstream media. of keeping people distracted. They don't want people talking about what the fuck is actually going on right now. That's why I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it. What the fuck is actually going on right now? We have got an energetic side. We've got this, the woo-woo side, if you want to call it that, where we just have been in, it's like it's going through the tumbler or the ringer, depending on how you want to, whatever analogy you want to use. Where we're getting knocked sideways every other day. We've got Mandela effects happening now in our own personal lives. And they're coming like so fucking fast and furious now to the point where you're almost bored of it. It's almost blasé now. Oh, look, something's changed. Oh, okay, so what's for dinner tonight? Oh, there's a lot of control in the alt media right now. A lot of control. And all you have to do is look at what they're not talking about. Looking at what they're not talking about. So yeah, you guys want to throw any shit on the table? Throw it on the table. Let's talk about this because this has been fucking insane. Now, I called months ago that once we got past October, the end of September, mid-October, that we were going to see some pretty fucking crazy financial shit happen. And what amazes me is how they're covering it up by just not talking about it. Yeah, so CERN. Okay, let's talk about CERN and Planet X and pole shift and all the rest of it. Because again, I found that mainstream article I was talking about last Wednesday. It was on Zero Hedge. It was about the pole shift. And the reason the article stood out is because it was different. It wasn't your usual NASA bullshit stuff that's all hyped up, but then fluffy. You know, it's all full of fluff. This was very, very different, and some of the evidence they were bringing forward was very specific. Very, very specific. Now, the other thing that just got announced in the last week is, the new chemtrails, because they've done the study that says they can spend $2 billion and put aerosol spraying particulates up in the air to divert the sun. Now, what's interesting is that, first of all, we're all fucking laughing our asses off going, yeah, you've been doing it for fucking decades. You know, it's like, yeah, because, you know, seriously, we're not blind. We know that this is what's being done. But the responses, a lot of really negative responses from meteorological organizations, scientists, saying, this is fucking bullshit. All you're doing is to try and put a stupid Band-Aid on a problem. It's not going to fucking work. And it could have serious, repercussions on the weather and changing weather systems. Well, duh. What have we been looking at for the last fucking couple of years? Massively changing weather systems. Duh. So it's been interesting. They've pushed that paper across the mainstream, across the alternative, like really, really pushed it out this week about the chemtrail stuff. But the responses, I don't think, are as positive as they thought. I don't know if they thought they could somehow, maybe we'll see it pulled back in and then they'll re-push it back out with a little bit more of a spin to it, because all the responses and the commentary that's coming after it has been very, very negative from a lot of the science side. The people who actually get the science are saying, yeah, you're fucked. No, this is not a good idea.
Actually, I was just thinking, I'm tying with what you were just saying, the whole, Band-Aid thing's over, a quick fix. That's kind of the world we live in. We've been conditioned to want a quick fix or just put a Band-Aid over things without actually fixing it, correcting everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is the perfect analogy of modern medicine is basically how they run the entire world. We're not going to fix it. We're not going to go and figure out what the cause is. we'll just put a Band-Aid over or give you a pill to treat the symptom, a symptom, which will cause 6 more symptoms because if you take the one pill, it'll treat that one symptoms, but you'll have like 6 more appear because they're side effects, and then you'll have to have another pill to fix those ones. And that's exactly what they're talking about with chemtrails. This is exactly what they're talking about. It's just a pill for that one thing, and it makes no sense because the repercussions are massive. We know because, we've lived through it.
You know, on that point, Danny, it's been quite a few years that they've been emphasizing, even in the school systems, what I would call soundbite understandings of things, and they do not fill in any details at all, nor pursue beyond the surface.
Nope.
And that's in your mind, you know, with words and stuff. But they've been conditioning us for that kind of a portrayal of things, and now it's just manifesting like you're talking about, you know, rather than actually go into the depth of things to the bottom of it and fix it from the bottom up. They just put, like you said, put a Band-Aid over it, or the effective equivalent of a Band-Aid, and go on. It's all shallow.
You've got a really good point there, Maury. You made a really important point, and that is for the last few decades anyway, and I'm only willing to go as far as that and say last few decades, they're not teaching reasoning skills. They teach you in sound bites. Sound bites. This is what it is. This is the answer. This is what it is. This is the answer. This is what it is. And now these kids who started off in public school have now finished university, and they're the ones out there doing the science and doing etc. And the fact of the matter is, there is no actual proper explanations. And the general public have got no reasoning skills. They don't even question because they've been told this is the science. This is the science. The science says this. So basically, science can say anything it wants, and the public will just go, okay, well, the science says this, so therefore it must be right. No capability of questioning or reasoning for themselves. And that's exactly, Maury, that's so awesome. Sound bites. They've been taught in little fucking sound bites. Seriously, Jules? Jules just said, I saw a research paper yesterday where every reference was via news and internet. So in other words, no actual research, no actual proof, no actual anything. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so, I mean, this is it. We know that the studies are all fucking bullshit. We've now had the editor-in-chief of the New England Journal of Medicine and the editor-in-chief of one of the other big science peer review magazines. Oh, it's gone right out of my head now. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. Who've just come out and and said publicly that at least 50% of the research papers that are published are bullshit. Complete bullshit. That there is nothing actually in there, and if it's not poorly done science, it's science that is completely made up of bullshit. It's not even just misinterpreted or poorly done. It's actual out and out bullshit. So
and some of it is plagiarized.
Oh yeah.
Well, Danny, how much of is my volume okay?
Not bad, hon. It's not bad.
Okay. How much of this is the actual algorithms writing these stories? And I think that's what we are seeing. And honestly, guys, the more I'm learning about the algorithms, the different types of algorithms and how they're using them and how long they've been around, seriously, a lot of what we see on the internet is not even human. It is algorithms just putting the stuff together.
Well, you know, when we there was a big article just went out on, I want to say it was either The Guardian or Huffington. It wasn't Huffington Post, but it was like I think it was The Guardian. saying their AI robot had just written its very first article. What do you think? So when they come out and they say shit like that, you know that they've had fucking AI mass-produced articles are just spinning. And I honestly think a lot of the sites, like, for example, Science Alert, which I always follow because you got to know what the bad guys are doing, even if you got to go to their website and read it there regularly. They put out so many articles a day, and they're all spun to the mainstream rhetoric. Whatever the spin is, and I mean, anything that's vaccine, they're so pro-vaccine, it's almost scary. But it's always spun to to support whatever the mainstream story rhetoric is. Now, how easy would it be to literally have an AI algorithm set up that every major science papers come out, they just shoot them over there and say, write an article on this. Here's what you're ending. This is your slant. Your slant is going to be this, or it's already preset in the algorithm. The slant is whatever the government says it is.
Well, look at the patterns. Okay, so humans are constantly based on patterns. Anything we do is from a pattern.
Yeah.
And corporations are the exact same way. And look how they did TV, right? First it was all live.
Yep.
And then they started programming TV. Okay? And so why wouldn't all of the online publications now be programmed? You know, they'll put in the parameters. Here's your parameter.
It makes sense. Yep.
Oh. And you know, oh my God. Okay, guys. When we all think that, oh, Facebook, Google just happened. Oh, yeah, they were in the garage or at college and it just happened. No. What they have been doing this artificial intelligence for a long time. So Google came around because they needed the search, the heuristic search.
Penny, say that again. They needed the what?
The heuristic search. Okay, that's going from one state, your absolute state, down to your goal state. Okay, that's how they train AIs. Okay, is this search? There are different types of searches. Anyway, so they needed a search. You have to have a search to go through databases. Okay. Then all of a sudden, MySpace came out. They couldn't search it because it was too chaotic. Okay, so MySpace had to die. Facebook
to bring in Facebook
was born. It is very organized. Have you noticed?
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely organized, and that is so the AI can come in and search. Okay, and then guess who? And I've been saying this, and nobody listens. Guess who trained that AI?
Who?
You all did. Every fucking person.
That's what Google algorithms are for. That's what the Google search algorithms. Now you can go into the algos and look at everything that's been searched. You can take a search parameter and go look at the daily, monthly, yearly graphs of how many people have searched that specific sentence. That is a data mining.
Yes.
Exactly like you said.
Yeah, and they're mining all this data, and we think, oh, it's to what, for our credit or what? No, it's not. They're data mining to train IAs, algorithms. I hate the word AIs because people get this. All it is fucking code, guys. That's all it is. Okay, it's codes that are programmed to act within parameters. Okay, and those parameters are getting bigger and bigger, wider and wider all the time. And that's why we have artificial intelligence, is because of everybody who wants to spill their shit online. Okay.
Penny, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know you're in school and you're doing a lot of the studies on these things like the algorithms and the AI. One of the things I have been saying for 3 years now is everyone keeps coming up with, say, a new search engine. So we've seen the launch of DuckDuckGo. We've seen the launch of Ecosia. We've seen the launch of a shit ton of different search engines. But they're equally bad. You still can't find you can search on Google, you can search on Ecosia, because I run both of them simultaneously. And you get the same bad hits where you cannot find the information you want. So I've hypothesized that while all these other companies have brought out their own search engines, they're all still using the Google algorithms.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, anytime anything's leaked, then somebody else will jump on it. But don't think that this isn't a plan.
We can't hear you, Penny, but don't think.
Okay, don't think that this isn't planned.
No,
Okay?
I know it's planned. Absolutely.
So everybody started going, oh my God, Google sold out. I need a different engine, right? So guess what?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. It's like what the government does is it will create a shell company, okay? Any company, any big, smart business is going to create shell companies, okay? Some people call them umbrellas, sister corporations, blah, blah, blah. It's all the same. Okay, so then Google goes, whoa, wait a minute, we still need this data. We're still feeding our algorithms, okay? So, of course, here comes another shell, right, with a different search engine that people jump on and still putting all their data in. Everybody, oh my God.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what I said when DuckDuckGo, and this is not a slight against DuckDuckGo. Some people like it as a search engine. I'm stating a piece of fact. DuckDuckGo makes the thing, we don't collect, or any of these, there's a lot of the new ones now saying, we don't collect your data. We don't collect your data. So you can use our search engine and we're not collecting your metadata. But if they're using the Google algorithm, that's called a backdoor hack. The company, doesn't have to sell your metadata. The backdoor is already in there for Google to take all that data because they're using the same algorithms.
It's not not Google though. It's Microsoft.
No, I'm using Google as an example. We all know Google is run by the government. It's run by the shadow governments, right? We know that. I'm using it as an example. Now it's the same thing with your devices. I had a really, really good conversation with Caleb Skinner back in 2013. And he was creating his platform. And it was all going to be like majorly encrypted, the whole thing. And the one thing he said to me is this only helps from someone trying to break into your email or reading emails as they go from one place to the next. Because, like however you want to call, imagine it or use it as a visual image. Your email sent from New York and it's going to your friend in LA. It can be hacked somewhere in that process, which is why you use encryption. Except that every single device has, whether it's a phone, a tablet, a laptop, a computer, has a backdoor hack in the actual hardware. It doesn't matter how much encryption you use. If the hack is in the hardware, which it all is, we know this for a fact, you can encrypt it 1,000 times. It doesn't matter. They're getting all the data before it goes through the encryption codes because it's already in there. This is what I'm talking about with Google and these search engines. It's the exact same premise. If they're using that algorithm, which I'm 100% certain that every single one of these guys is using the same, because when you type in the same search things, you get all the same fucking answers, which are bullshit now.
It goes back to the internet too. Remember breaking down the web from the internet?
Yeah.
Now, who owns the internet? Okay, so anything traveling within the internet is going to be hijacked.
Yeah.
Okay? And another thing, and this is to be aware of, is that like your friend who created this, right? And he was going to encrypt it. What will happen when he goes out to try to market it? It'll be bought up or destroyed. Okay. Now,
No. They were smarter than that. Do you know what
okay, but
doing? No, Penny, just listen. What they were doing, he created such an uncrackable piece of software that the central bank started using it. And they were using it to move money. We were never able to completely prove it. But looking at the massive batches of data, now it's encrypted so you can't see what the data is. But within a month and a half of him launching, there were massive packets of data that were being exchanged between users. And I'm not talking about movies. I'm talking about massive packages of data. And we were pretty fucking sure that what it was is that the agencies had just been like, okay, great, we'll just use his program. He's done it for us. So we need to pass this data back and forth between the banking communities. We'll just use his because it's all encrypted and no one can hack it.
Yeah, just as an example, I was trying to use it as an example.
Yeah.
But most of these companies, and I'm not saying all of them, but a good portion of them are then bought up, okay?
Yeah.
And so everybody who's followed their progress actually trusts this, right?
Yep.
But they don't realize it's just been bought or enveloped by this huge corporation, right? And then just becomes as corrupt. And I'm using, but these are familiar words. Okay?
Yeah, exactly. No, I totally get it. Penny, I totally get what you're saying. And this is stuff we've talked about. I've been doing shows on talking about free energy. I'm using the dirty word free energy. Alternative energy devices. The same thing happens. Alternative automotive powering engines. It always happens the same way, and that they run two different playbooks. Either they buy it up and lock it away, or they take the person out. And we've seen it over and over again.
It's the ages-old scenario.
Yep.
Remember that banker that got killed with 9 shots from a nail gun? I mean, seriously, 9 shots.
Right, and it was that was suicide, right? I mean,
yeah, I know.
He shot himself 9 times with a nail gun to kill himself.
But think about it. Just let's announce that elephant in the room. If you try to kill yourself and you shoot yourself once with a nail gun, maybe twice, wouldn't you agree that you are in so much pain that you probably wouldn't continue and call an ambulance or anything? No. But hey, to go back to those back doors, I don't know if any one of you knew, when was it, last year, 2017, there was an exploit announced that they needed to write actual software because the exploit was literally in the chip design. So just to go a little bit into detail, for example, my new gaming computer has in his chip its own fucking file server, its own fucking email server that I cannot access, so to speak. And there was an exploit where they could literally go into the data the chip was processing, and through that hack that shit for a short while until that leak was plugged. But seriously,
but it hasn't been plugged. It hasn't been plugged, hon. Here's the thing: Intel just announced quietly. It was one of those they put out a bloop because we got to admit to this, but then it was like no one talk about it. There is the same thing. They've discovered that anything more than a duo quad. Anything more than a 2-quad chip has got a major backdoor hacked into it, like major, and pretty much any agency can just go right in and just take everything out of your computer. That's the Intel chip, and everyone uses Intel chips. Like every computer uses a fucking Intel chip.
Here's something else, guys. Since you brought that up, Okay. Has anybody heard of Moore's Law?
Say that again, hon. I couldn't hear you.
Moore's Law, Moores, Moore's Law. Okay, that's where your system, your processors are going to get faster every 2 years.
Yeah.
Guess what? No, not anymore, because Intel and Microsoft went in together and they're working on these reprogrammable chips. Okay? Now, guess what they're going to use these chips for? AI. So so our computers are going to kind of come to a stall, basically. So what you have now is basically that's what you're going to have for the next few years, because they're going to put all these chips into AI.
Huh?
So this was just something interesting I came across.
Yeah, it's not only, Penny, it's not only that problem, but technically we are still using silicon chips, and these chips tend to get very hot, right? That's why they have to go smaller and smaller and smaller.
Oh,
so today,
exactly.
hang on. Today, I have on my gaming computer, I have 12 fucking cores. So I don't actually have the speed it's supposed to be, but I have like 12 different CPUs that are sharing the load. And that's how they pretend, yeah, we got faster each year. But technically, you're still running like a car with multiple cylinders, but you only get more cylinders instead of a bigger...
Nice analogy. Yep, nice analogy. I like that one. But this is the whole thing. I mean, but we go into these supercomputers, right? We go into the supercomputers and the quantum computers. And it's kind of like what you were just saying about how the Moore's Law is no longer really panning out the way it should on, we'll call it personal computer levels, but it is in supercomputers and it is in quantum computers. That's where we are seeing this, where it's like quadrupling and tripling, etc., over and over and over again. Which brings us back to the conversation again about what the fuck is actually happening. And we've got, looking at something like, because we're gonna jump back to what Linda said a hell of a few minutes ago when she talked about the CERN. And we talk about things like quantum computers, and we talk about CERN opening dimensional portals or things like this. We have to throw it back on the table. We have to throw it, like we've kind of taken CERN off the table for quite a while. We have to now throw it back onto the table. We know they're doing major experiments right now, crashing lead ions. And the last time they did this experiment was in 2015. The last experiment, and I've had 2 different dates given to me, is either the last one is either December 3rd or December 5th. And then they're shutting CERN down for 2 years. The LHC, not CERN, but the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider, will be shut down for 2 years. So, are we looking at a lead up? All this insanity that we're feeling at the moment for the last 3 weeks? Are we looking at some kind of a lead up to a major whatever it is that they're trying to do? I know I'm going to be keeping my eyes peeled real fucking close on those 2 dates, December 3rd and 5th.
Doesn't it kind of feel like the lead up to that 2012? It really kind of does.
Doesn't it just, Penny? Yes. I was thinking about that just yesterday. I was like, looking at, and okay, I'll go back into this again. I had this conversation with a good friend of mine. It does feel exactly like that. Even back in 2012, so I've talked about this before, I was heavily involved in all the political and underground intel world. I had really, really good fucking sources for my intel. Very high up. In several agencies and one from the Pentagon. And we were hearing all the same shit that we're hearing about right now from QAnon. All the shit that's coming out from the QAnon stuff for the last year is the exact same stuff that we were hearing in 2012, leading up to this big date, you know, because they always like to give you a date there. So it was December 21st, 2012. There was this real, I don't know, I don't want to even say expectation because that's not quite right. There was a lot of energy driving up to that point.
Look at the weather, too. The weather was fucking bizarre. I mean, it was bizarre. And we had shit blowing up in 2012, leading up to 2012, shit was blowing up. A lot of mass die-offs. I mean, it's just like a fucking huge loop. We're just in a different place right now.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you because it sticks out. There's too many repeats. There's too many repeats. Now, I said to this friend of mine that I was talking to, who you guys met on Sunday, Mike, we had a big, long conversation about this on Monday. In the first week of January of 2013, I know what I was told had happened, was happening, and was going to happen on the political, American political, and with the cabal, et cetera, et cetera. All my sources, all the people I worked with, all their sources, all lined up. They were all saying the same thing, that Obama had been taken out of power. He was under arrest. All of that crew were under arrest. There was going to be an interim government put into power. And we cross-referenced every source that we had. They all said the exact same thing. And we were all given a date, and I think it was the 20th of July, the 20th of January, 2013, to wait for this date. This is going to be the date when all these announcements would come out. Nothing happened. And we sat there going, what the fuck? And all of our sources sat there going, what the fuck? And I hypothesized many years later that we were jumped at that point, that we were jumped into a new timeline, some kind of Mandela effect mirror world, that we were dropped somewhere else to prevent the natural disasters that we had been prophesied, but had been seen as to be coming in early 2013, that we were jumped. So there's a little part of me that says, okay, with this QAnon stuff, maybe, just maybe, we were put back on that same track again. And it has to play out properly this time. Maybe.
Remember before the whole, like, Obama's going to be taken down, there was that point for a while where people were like, yes, Obama's going to be the one. Obama's the one that's going to bring down, the power.
But that was all a political thing like this. I used to laugh about that one because all the American friends of mine who were Democrats were all like, oh, Obama's the chosen one. He's going to bring in all this shit. And all the Republicans were like, Obama is the Antichrist. He's going to kill us all. And I used to sit there as the Canadian. I used to sit in there between all of them going, I don't give a fuck about you Republicans, Democrats. So I really don't care. But it was so political like this. It was crazy.
I remember at the time I was watching this whole documentary on how Obama's the Antichrist. He's going to be in this freaking bunker. He's going to have like this scar on his face because of a certain accident that's supposed to happen to him. It's like... Yeah.
So we've seen all this play out.
Right.
So like I said, maybe, God knows, for the last year especially, we've been talking about loops and timeline jumps and how feels like we've fallen back into 2015. Oh, nope, 2013. So maybe there's a chance. Maybe there is some chance somewhere along the line that whatever was not finished has now been jumped back to be finished on whatever level that is. Who knows? We're not going to know until it all fucking plays out. But there is a definite lead up of something going on. And it's not just political, financial, because that doesn't explain the anomalies we're going through in our own personal lives.
Well, like, for me, like, I've just, like, gone through something, like, personally, like, I never thought I was gonna do or ever do, and yet I did it, you know, to help myself, you know, move myself forward. And it's like, we're seeing, like, this whole thing where things are coming out, things are being set free, information's being set free that you never thought they would let out, but all of a sudden, like, it, you know, being let out, like the chemtrail thing, or, you know.
Yep.
And it's like, it's a karmic cycle thing. That's what I'm feeling. Like,
no, don't use the karmic word, dude. I will slap you down if you use the karmic word. Don't even think about it.
No, I mean for them. Like, for those in power, like, there's this whole thing where there's a certain time for certain things that have to play out, but then there's, like, that reverse that comes back around, I feel, in reality. That's what I mean.
No, I get it. Yeah, go ahead, Blair.
I'm just wondering, like, is their information even accurate? Is it just sent out to confuse us and mind fuck us and make us more insane?
Blair, that's my question. I said this right from the fucking get-go. I can relay what I went through in 2012. Like, the group of people I worked with in gathering intel, we all had our own sources, and before we would go public with something, we would verify, cross-verify. We'd have meetings at 3 o'clock in the morning to verify that every single thing is lining up. Now, you're absolutely right. We could have all been getting told a crock of shit. And it could have all been just for the purpose of distraction. Keep people distracted by this, the good guys, the white hats are going to win, and that's the way it's going to play out. In which case, QAnon, exact same thing, isn't it? It's the exact same thing.
It is, yes.
The only thing I can say, though, is the fact of, like I said, I know what we went through. And I know, for example, my one guy in the Pentagon, when shit didn't play out the way it was supposed to on January 20th of 2013, I talked to him on Skype, and just the tone of his voice was like, I don't fucking know what happened. I have no fucking clue what happened. No one, and there was almost a panic, like not panic. When someone has just been introduced to something that is so fucking extremely out there that they cannot comprehend it, and that was the feeling that I got. And you had some of the intel guys who'd be like, try and fluff it all off because they've got to maintain their reputation. Oh well, things and blah, blah. But the one guy I did absolutely trust was my guy in the Pentagon, and it was abject shock on his part when shit did not play out. And then 6 months later, he was taken out. So it's that the little pieces that you go, well, I don't know. And we don't have the answers. That's what it comes down to. We don't have the answers. And we're not going to have the answers until either fucking whatever it is fucking happens, or it doesn't happen, and we loop back again to another 2013 where everything just disappears.
Or someone decides to be the brave soul and go into these organizations and skim the truth from what goes on there,
Well, I mean, that we get all the time, right? I mean, this is one of those things, but who do you know who's right and who's wrong?
Right.
That's always the trick with this stuff. Yeah,
use your intuition.
The waiting trap. Yeah, but you know what? You can use your intuition. I say this all the time. You can say you use your intuition, but we all fall for it. We all fall for it. Like I said, I still to this day don't know if all the information I was given in 2012 was accurate. I don't know. I have no way of verifying it.
But we do know that something happened. We all can agree on that because we've all done what the fuck.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
what if? Now, I do believe that was probably. You know what? I can't even say that, so I'm not even going to say it out loud. But I do think what is happening now and what we keep feeling is nature or reality trying to correct itself from whatever happened back then. Whether it was man-made, whether it was nature itself. It kind of is suspicious that there was this Maya calendar, or was that a psyop?
Well, yeah, okay, but here's the thing about the whole Maya calendar, and I will talk about this, okay? Because the Maya calendar being assigned a date, that specific date, and one of you guys will be smart enough to write that date in there, because I know one of you guys will know it. The date that was on the Maya calendar that showed that the end of the calendar cycle, that cycle, to start the next cycle. It was directly correlated to our calendar now. Except what's the one thing that we don't know? We have no fucking clue what year we're in. We have no fucking clue what history is. We have no clue what the date is right now. Right? So I read a really brilliant article. It was actually it was about August of 2012. I've talked about this before. And I've never been able to find this article again. And the guy was maybe, what do they call it? Someone who studies calendars and dates. He's a historian, but he specifically studies calendars and dates. And he put out an article in August of 2012 saying, look, this whole December 21st thing is a crock of shit. And he explained it by the changing over of from the Caesar's calendar to the Gregorian calendar, and he showed where years had been moved and shifted, and he said the real date for the Mayan calendar, and of course for the life of me I can't remember what fucking year it was. There was a date given in March of 2015, and then another date, and it was 2018 or 2019. And I can't remember, and he gave his whole explanation, like he showed all his work of like, we know that this change happened, and this many years, this many months, this many weeks, we'll just throw it out.
Well,
since then we have seen multiple fucking articles. People have come out and talked about, what are we looking at now? We're looking at the fact of all of our history is fucked. Basically, you can't believe anything that's in history. So if they're directly correlating a specific date on one calendar that has no correlation to the Gregorian calendar we're currently on, and they're drawing this across, when this calendar, the Gregorian calendar, is fucked anyway, we technically don't know what the date is. Now, there are people who have hypothesized over the last several years that the actual date is December 21st, 2018. That's the proper date. And same thing, they've worked out math and shown how the years were off, et cetera, et cetera. So
then what happened in 2012?
We don't know, do we?
But hang on. If I may ask a question, so why is everyone in panic about the Mayan calendar? I mean, these guys
it's not panic. It has nothing to do with panic.
These guys built a calendar system into a perfect sphere. What do we know? Everything in nature runs in cycles. Yeah. So one might say the Mayans were a little bit lazy and said, well, okay, come on, we make this calendar till 2012, then it repeats itself because fuck all.
Which is exactly what it does.
Exactly, because fuck all, we might not exist by this time, and let the other guys figure it out.
No, Basi, you're being very, 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 very kind of extreme in saying it that way. We know why the Mayan calendar was built. We know the
Yeah,
fact
but
that it's perfectly
it runs in
accurate to all the
cycles.
planets, and that it does reloop and recycle. It doesn't stop. That was the whole joke about it. Was like, the end of the world is on December 21st, 2012. No, it marks the end of a cycle, and then the
Exactly.
cycle starts again.
Rinse and repeat.
Yep. Very much so. You could very well be right on that.
But like with history, I mean, with the changing of history, you would think that there would be, like I've said, there should be a linking between like things that happen in history. Like it should be more noticeable. Like we should be still having video, video phones. Like they supposedly had it back in the 60s now, which to me is like everything that like from computers, like coming things that came earlier should be more correlating with now, but it's not.
No. No,
Well,
That's my
technology
problem.
hasn't advanced in that way.
it could be that we are I lost my train of thought. That it's a psyop, the Mandela effect. Well, not really.
It
But-
can't be.
It can't be. It's too big. It would be too damn expensive to do. Like, plus, how would you like change everything in everyone's home? Like,
I meant that they're rewriting history quantumly and also physically.
Yeah. Yep. And this is it. And we look at
So-
that and we say, we've talked about the historical aspects, the changes to history, etc. It all comes down to the fact of that. This is why I always come back to my one piece that I throw back on the table is that this is all a simulation. Is that it is all a quantum simulation. It is a holographic simulation that we're in, because that's how you can go back and change things, like go back, oh, well, we started version 2.0. Oh, fuck, we had a flaw with 2.0. We better do 2.1. And then you end up with Mandela effects where you have all these different changes that happen. That's just my simplistic way of looking at it, right? But this is one of those things. And John, exactly, it's not consistent. Some experience it, some don't. Now, some of the people who don't, it could be that they just, they don't pay attention. Or they play the game of, oh, well, it was just, I just don't remember. Or all these different things. But there's also, and this is what I was talking about the other week, back in 2015 with the Mandela effect stuff, it was there were just basically two groups. There were the groups who did not see it, because if you want to talk about it in the terms of timelines, it was their timeline. That's the way it always was on their timeline. And those of us who were from another timeline and got dropped in and over here were like, no, it wasn't fucking like that at all. What are you talking about? But since then, especially in the last year, it's not a matter of simplistically two groups. Like there was this group from another timeline and this group from this timeline, and then we all got jumped together. Now it's all over the place. And now it's to the point of all over the place where each and every individual one, people have different memories. Someone can have the same memory on one that comes out last week. We can say Star and I were like, oh yeah, we remember it this way. Absolutely. And then another one comes out 2 days later and we don't remember it the same way. So it's not like you're in a group and it's to the point now where it's like on the quantum level are each individual's universe. Go away, fly. In our own individual, going back to that whole, like I'm just in my little universe, and you're all a hallucination. You guys are all just a hallucination that I've somehow thought up in my little universe, and you guys each have your own little universes. And then when things get all trippy, how does that play out? Right? I don't know.
Well, what
chaos.
if it was singularity that happened back then? There was enough data, okay? There was enough data back then that singularity, and we all plugged in. And so there was enough to create singularity back then. And because that's kind of what it feels like. Singularity wouldn't be just this huge explosion that just boom, right, happens and we're all just right there. No, it would be this gradual spreading, right? And it just continues to spread and spread. And that singularity would put this overlay, this holographic type overlay that meshes. And the more we're learning about there's no such thing as anything is solid. Everything is frequency, and I mean, it would make sense that I think, or the waves are
or you know what? Maybe we all died. At the end of 2012, maybe we all died, and all our consciousness was uploaded to some big computer game system. And we're floating around, and some of us on version 2.0, and some of us are on version 2.3, and some of us are on version 4.0, and some people are just backdrop people that just fill in the blanks.
It definitely does feel different, because I can remember before 2012, it did feel real. And I'm not saying then after December 23rd, 2012, I felt different. No. But it's this gradual, and all of a sudden I'm like, where the fuck am I? I mean, I don't feel real. Nothing feels real.
The day after 2012, I remember waking up, and I've said this before, I felt disoriented. Like, I felt like something was different. Didn't know what it was, but I knew it felt different and not real. Like, it was as if I was partially in a dream. I don't know, like, for me, but that's how I felt when I woke up that morning.
I never noticed anything different, and that was I didn't notice a single thing different the next day. Actually, that's not true. There was, in the week past that, the week that went on through there, some things happened. But you know what? Again, we have no answers. We have no way of, at this point, being able to say what it is or what it isn't, right? All we can do is just keep throwing the hypotheses on the table and going, hey, guys, what do you think of this one? How many puzzle pieces does this one match up with? Are we any closer? No, we just have a lot more puzzle pieces on the table.
You don't have any external validation that you can agree upon, is what you're saying, Danny.
No, we don't. Not really. I mean, like I said, there's certain things that are a little more logical than other things. Certain things we can go, okay, well, we know that just doesn't fucking make sense at all, so we'll just throw that right out the window. Or at least push it to the very edge of the table so it doesn't get confused with the active puzzle pieces we're working on. I don't know. Like I said, it's all I can say is on the physical, or maybe I should say on the geophysical, our perception of geophysical, there's obviously extreme shit going on. Volcanoes, earthquakes, floods, snowstorms, heat waves, in places that none of these things are supposed to be happening, cyclones, water spouts. It's insane. On the woo-woo side, we all know what we're feeling. We all know when all of a sudden you wake up, and literally I had 2 mornings, Monday and Tuesday morning, where I woke up and literally sat on the edge of my bed and was so disoriented. Woke up in the middle of the night, one of the nights, and I didn't even know where I was. Like literally, I had that moment where you lay there and you wake up and you open your eyes and you go, where the fuck? Like it felt like my bed was even facing the wrong direction. Like I was that disoriented. The physical shit that we're seeing, i.e. physical within our own physical bodies, the ridiculous, the headaches, the sicknesses, the pains, etc., that everyone goes through all at the same time. And again, doesn't matter if you're in Australia, Canada, England, Malta, India, it doesn't fucking matter. Everyone's going through these things. Or not everyone, let's say a lot of people are going through them.
It made me think of that spatial disorientation you were talking about. When you feel spatially disoriented too, when you wake up like that.
Yep.
That's freaky. That's freaky. You wake up and you're just like, what the fuck? Even you even feel more anxious.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have a panic moment of like, where's the side of my bed? I don't even know where the fucking side of my bed is at this point. So there is something absolutely going on. Because you can't affect a massive amount of people all at the same time with the kind of things. And like I said, then you have the real woo-woo stuff when the shit in your house fucking changes right in front of you.
Yeah, like
your shoes change. I'm sorry.
Okay. For me, so I went to the washroom one night, because, well, you have to do what you gotta do. So I'm in there, but I noticed everything's the same, but the light seemed lit at a different wavelength. Like, they weren't as bright, and I'm like, well, maybe it's because, they're getting along, they're sort of like, I don't know if they're LED bulbs or whatever, affect the anyway, whatever. But I noticed the wavelength looked different, and the bathroom felt the same, but yet different at the same time. It felt like the room was different, for me. Like,
yeah, I know. I totally get what you're saying.
But guys, something definitely changed. I mean, I see this year so many memes literally becoming reality. I think I sent you today that link about Tolkien and how the Lord of the Rings is now racist.
Dude, don't even get me started on that.
But hang on. This was a meme. I have to look it up when I saved the pictures, if it was late 16 or end of 16 and early
really
70. Yes. It's not the only meme that became reality lately. There are so many things, and this is like how they waged war on all the Tibetan basket weaving forums and stuff like that, where the cool kids are talking, so to speak, and creating all the memes. And the weird thing is, or it seems to be, where a certain group focuses their energy to, it slowly trickles into reality, like as if dreams become reality or something like that.
Or we're in a simulation, and that was one of your precursor pieces that was dropped in to let us know what was coming. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you can drop shit in all over the place. That's why I keep going back to the whole simulation thing, because it's the one thing that makes sense.
The interesting thing about these places is they are sort of like independent collectives. No one has a job or something that the other can't replace, so to speak. There is no leader, there is no follower, there's only the collective, so to speak. And these people are all, so to speak, non-NPCs, like creators of content, so to speak, whatever they do. And we've hypothesized that several times over the last few years, that there are that's a good term, content creators. I would like to give them a piece of my mind right about now. But you see, I think it's all of us. I mean, we are pissed with something. We don't like this weather. We want to have something else. We don't make it specific. Enough people think about it. The weather changes, not to our favor. But, like where attention goes, energy flows, right?
Yeah, but that's one of those pieces that can be pushed too far. And that's where I get what you're saying. But that's one of those pieces that really falls into that new age meme. And it's like, it's your fault. And this is the perpetual piece that plays out throughout the New Age belief structure. It's your fault. You paid energy to it, so therefore you created it. No, not necessarily at all. We could be on a planet that the fucking tilt is changing and the magnetic poles are about to flip, and that's what's causing all the changes to the weather, the changes to the anomalies, etc., etc. We could be in the middle of a fucking computer simulation that the AI is completely running amok and is breaking down all over the place, and therefore we're bleeding through from different levels. Who knows?
You know,
Or it could be any other things that we haven't even hypothesized yet.
We could try an experiment, okay? So, put something really stupid and outrageous, like on your website, on the UU website, or somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Anybody who has a hosting site, okay, just go and put something stupid. If it's WordPress, HTML, I mean.
But stupid like what? What kind of an example? Give me an example.
Okay,
what you mean by stupid?
Well, just like the Tolkien thing. How stupid was that? It originated from the stupid, was supposed to be a funny meme, right? Now, just something far-fetched. I don't know. Everybody think about it. It can be an assignment, and let's put it out there, okay? Let's put it out there and see how long it takes for it to be picked up, okay? And
well, we've kind of played this already in more subtler senses. Like, for example, we've been talking about the concept of NPCs for several years now. Here on this show, with the One People, when we had the One People show, we've been talking about the concept of bots, background people, NPCs for years. And then all of a sudden in this last 6 months or so, a whole lot of people have started really, really talking about it and going, oh, wait a second. And then what happens? That NPC meme fucking appears. Boom. Right there. It's like a meme. And now it's gone viral mainstream.
Okay,
they're not using it in the right way. They don't get it, what we're saying.
But let's think of this as an experiment, okay? And so we're going to need a controlled aspect, okay? And then the actual experiment.
Okay, well, I'm putting you in charge of the team, Penny.
Hang on,
You're in
Penny.
charge of the team, Penny. You put together your team. You're in charge. You guys come up and brainstorm what we can do, and we'll do exactly that. We'll start punching it, pulling it out over Facebook, on the website, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, because we already know it happened once. So let's verify, okay?
Yeah.
But hang on, let me give you some insight of the, in quote marks, meme magic that I witnessed. So the idea of brainstorming is actually perfect. So how these catchy things are actually created is in a group. Everyone brainstorms. Everyone creates his own little idea of the core idea, and then we literally throw everything at the wall and see what sticks, what gets picked up, what gets catchy, so to speak, what gets viral to get the idea across.
Yeah. Well, let's try. Well, let's give it a try. I don't have the brain cells to do that, but Penny's in charge.
It's got to be based on, there has got to be some part in it based on reality. Just like that Tolkien, racist is reality.
Okay, so just to fill in everyone who's listening in the live audience or listens to this later on, there's a meme out right now that J.R.R. Tolkien, the master writer of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, is a racist because he created the orcs. And they're just, the white people are running the world, but those poor black orcs, they're just not doing nothing but trying to mind their own business. So very obviously the people creating these memes, number one, have never read Lord of the Rings. Let's just call it what it is. And number two, they're fucking morons. But besides the point, it's so asinine, so completely asinine that they're trying to make this. I posted it today. I posted the meme on my wall today. And it was like, this is the pinnacle of 2018. This meme just describes how idiotic and fucking stupid people have become in 2018. That they're actually spreading that Tolkien is a racist because, he's not fair to orcs who are trying.
Well, I think it was an algorithm that is spreading that, and that's what we're going to.
And you could be right. You could very well be right.
No, hang on.
I also think that society is fucking crazy. So
yeah, well, that too.
No, hang on. The original idea of the, before it became picked up by the news and called racist, the original idea back then was to take Tolkien, like what happened there, and take it out of reality into our reality right now, and use it with, for example, the same mentality as everyone screamed like, oh my god, we have to take in all migrants, right? And they made like these pictures like where Aragorn says to Legolas like, oh my god, we have to light the fires, right? The orcs are coming. And the other one looked to the other one like, dude, don't be a xenophobic motherfucker,
Yeah.
They're just orcs, they just
they're just out for a spring walk. So, and there's no analogy. There's no cross analogy there. Right? Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't in any way, shape, or form, any logical person with even one active brain cell can make the analogy between migrants and orcs and somehow try to make that make sense. Because it's
they were
insane.
Created for shits and giggles,
exactly.
Like to blow everything out of proportion. But the hilarious part is actually that there are people literally coming to these troll places, reading stuff like, oh my god,
and they're taking it at face value because they're that fucking retarded.
Yeah, exactly.
But also notice now how like they're going after memes. Like they want to, where people can't make memes anymore. Where they want to.
I'm offended.
Yeah, where it shouldn't be offended. Like
when a picture on the fucking computer screen offends you.
Yeah.
In a meme.
Right.
You need to go take your head and flush it down the toilet, because you and not be allowed to reproduce. Every single person who gets offended by a meme that happens to come by on Facebook needs to be literally sterilized. We don't need your genetics in the human race pool of genetics any fucking more. You're too stupid to be allowed to reproduce.
Or as we say here, go on the highway and play light catching at night.
Yeah.
Isn't the meme situation because they cannot control or do anything about it? They can't direct the memes. The communication, like that's the communication that they
exactly
can't mess with.
And
the memes.
Our side has it, like the other side can't meme. I mean, they can create memes, but they are not that catchy, right? Like if you research, there are certain places where real viral memes get created, and there are not many places, right? And I mean, may the meme be as fucked up as it is, maybe some different version of it makes it on Imgur or on Facebook or whatever, right? Like they cannot control the source because they don't have the mojo, so to speak, to piss people off and make them laugh at the same time.
Well, here's what comes to my mind on exactly that. When you have to fill out an online form and you have to do like the little CAPTCHA, you've got to type in the picture. They give you a picture and they'll say like,
yes, exactly.
Click on how many pictures are show cars? How many pictures show still fronts, etc. And they're all just blurred little pictures that a human can see, but a bot can't see it. Right?
That's why we have the inside joke.
Like, for example, Google algorithms, Google gathering up all this AI data, they can't do it with a meme.
That's why we have. Hang on, that's why we have the inside joke, because literally every time you fill out one of these specific Google captures about the environment, name this, show me this, is this that, or is this a car, is this a
They're
bus, is
collecting
this a
it.
bike? Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
good
why they
point.
say
Good
exactly.
point.
There are articles out there, and that is exactly what Apaches are for. You are helping algorithms. Yeah.
If it's something like memes that are not they're not a continuous capture, etc., they're just literally fucking everywhere. Listen, I love 9gag. If you guys don't know what 9gag is, you need to go find 9gag. Just type it into any Google search engine. It's nothing but memes. It is. I can spin through that for like a half an hour and laugh. And I can be like, okay, you're a retard, and you're a fucking retard. And you're, again, too stupid to be allowed to reproduce. But there's always funny shit. And what I find, though, using 9gag as an example, there are people out there who are very obviously very, very with it and are using the memes to spread information. Using the memes to spread ideas, to make people question. So I love it. I think that's awesome. Jules, do you have your hand up? You had your hand up for a second, but I couldn't.
I did for a second, but I'm just going back to what JC said. I think we are the algorithms as well. We're not just making them. We're seen as algorithms. We're having experiences. And all this data is being collected, not only on us, but we're making things happen.
Yep.
So to speak, collectively.
Yep, very true. Very true. And punny, yes. Isn't that funny? Yes. I had never heard of the word meme until after 2013. That's what Penny just put. And I'm sitting here trying to think about it. Did we call them memes? When you put funny little graphics out, we all did that. There was someone who would post a funny graphic, a picture or something, and make a little silly comment on the graphic. But memes, the actual idea of memes? Really? Yeah, it's only been relatively in the last few years that that's really come out.
I mean, we had JPEGs and all that. Like,
yeah,
you know, we would say
JPEG.
Yeah. But and I remember seeing it for the first time on Facebook. That was the first time that word was used.
Yeah. Very, very interesting, my friends. We live in, it was really funny. I posted a meme, back at the end of 2017. Little did I know that 2018 was going to be even more fucked up. And it was basically one of those things of like, you know, and they give you dates, like, you know, the 1950s are, the history calls us the era of this. In the 1960s, well, this is the era of hippies and free love. And the 1970s was the era, and they go all the way up and they get to like, and 2017, this is the era we don't talk about. And 2018, I'm going to call it from like 2012 to 2018, his history is going to very in the future, it's going to be like, we don't talk about that time. We just don't talk about it because seriously, we're not quite sure what the fuck happened. Ancient historian or historians way into the future will be like, yeah, we suspect that someone liberally dosed the air with LSD and they just literally were tripping balls for 10 years. That's what we suspect.
I mean, look how fast we come from 2012 to 2018. It doesn't feel like we should have been like, it feels like someone just put us, like we're
full steam ahead.
We're like a record, you know, and someone just cranked us up to like a faster speed than 45, you know.
We're putting a 33 on and we're setting it to 78. Someone. Oh, hold on. There we go. Sorry, someone.
But that was me. That was me.
Oh, okay. Pesky humans, like super condensed data stream that only the right ones can read. Very interesting. Yeah. So basically, the final conclusion is just that it's all fucked. It's all fucked. And I do want to put out my little words of caution. And people always nail me afterwards when I say these things and call me pessimistic and, all of that stuff. Shit's getting real. And my old school prepping tendencies are coming right back up to the surface again. And I've started laying in stores of food and water and shit like that, because shit's fucking insane right now. Between the physical shit going on the planet, the financial shit going on the planet, the political shit going on the planet. So I just, in the Unfuckers library, I have a lovely collection of prepper books, survivalist books, everything about growing, hunting, fishing, tying knots, to anything you could possibly need. I strongly recommend that people maybe go download a few of those and have some of this information on hand. That's my very strong recommendation, everyone. Because shit's getting really fucking strange.
I was going to say real quick, it's been insane for ages, though. It's I
yeah,
think
but
we're
it's like
aware of it, and it's just gotten more intense.
It is, and the thing is, it's gone from it's a snowball effect. It's gone from like once a month to once every 3 weeks to once every 2 weeks, once every week, to the point it's like once a day now. There's something epic happening somewhere that we're all like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Yep, the energies are definitely
earthquakes in the Caribbean. That's a fucking, you should all be paying attention to that. That's serious.
Yeah. The energies are really colliding, and it seems so subtle in a way, though. Things seem to change, things so subtle, but there's definitely some collisions.
Yippers. Yeah, so talking about the library, I have decided, as Brianna, was it you who were joking about that? Saying that I was rebuilding the Alexandria?
Yeah, you single-handedly rebuilt the Alexandria Library.
We're working on it. I'm working on it. There are
Getting
now
seriously huge, massive, big.
thousands of books in the library now. Thousands and thousands of books in the Unfuckers library. A good portion of it's fiction. A good portion of the fiction I've got organized by author. Some of it, I don't know how many authors I've actually got organized into file folders. I guess I've probably about 40 or 50 authors that are in file folders. There is the big mess folder that you can go access if you want, which is all the unorganized stuff that hasn't been gone through yet. Don't open it up unless you have a couple of hours. It's going to take you a couple of hours to go through all the files, all the folders, all the fucking masses. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of books in there. Then on the other side, there's all the specific documentation stuff, like that on specifics, like I said, like my prepping stuff. There's my health stuff. There's my, oh God, all kinds of stuff. Anyways, the Unfuckers library is available to members to download anything you want from it. I'm still building on it. I have piles more stuff that still have to go in that I just have not had time to get to yet. Books. It's on the Unfuckers site, Deb. It's on the Unfuckers site, in the library section of the Unfuckers site. Not on Facebook, no. It's only on the private Unfuckers site.
Danny, make sure the firewall's up to protect it. We don't need another fire,
Well, it's all loaded on the cloud, but I have every single one of these. All those books are on 3 different external drives. Because I'm really big on security and making sure.
Also, a little interesting thing, if any one of you plans to print interesting stuff out, make sure you have a paper that survives some time, so to speak, because everything we print on these new paper, on the paper we have now, and the ink that we use, that literally fades away after a couple of years. I mean, don't nail me down, but a couple of years, like let's say 20 years, and it's mostly gone because the paper is fucked up or the ink is not readable, because there are, I don't know, you might have to do research on this. There are some inks you can use and some paper you can use where you can literally archive it hard copy wise for decent time.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Well, one of the things I'm looking at doing for myself is because I have all my big external drives that are like 2 and 3 and 4 terabyte drives. I'm looking at actually going and getting a pile of thumb drives and ordering like a mass amount of thumb drives, and then I can put certain things onto thumb drives and keep them safe. Do you know what I mean? Like they're unplugged, they're not near any electrical, they're not near, hell, you put them in frickin', like I said, I've been joking saying to Nick, go get me a cinder block. I need a couple of good concrete cinder blocks so I can put all my drives inside it and cover it up to try and protect them from geomagnetic stuff. It's not a bad idea. Having some of your information, things like documentation that you may want to hang on to in case of, things, photos, things like that, have them on separate little thumb drives that you can kind of put them on a keychain. I had a friend of mine who did that. He had all his movies on a thumb drive. And they had a little hole in the back of the drive. And he had a big old-fashioned metal keychain like this. And he had like a master list. Yep. And he had a master list of all of his movies. And then it would like drive 1, drive 2, drive 3, drive 4, all listed where. So if someone said, hey, I want to watch the original Star Wars A New Hope, he'd like go down the list and go, yeah, okay, that's on drive 12. Here, you want to borrow it? Just bring that back when you're done. It's a good idea.
Well, Danny, you bring up a good point. So many people think of the movies as this truth that, oh my God, electronics can be just wiped out, boom, gone. No, just have a computer backed somewhere safe, and like you said, thumb drives, put them away. And you know what? Electricity is pretty fucking easy to make.
Yep. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And batteries don't take up a lot of electricity, a lot of amperage. So if you have, and I'm actually looking at doing that right now, is taking one of my many laptops and piecing at least taking some of them and hijacking them back together into one that's working and doing nothing but putting it aside and keeping it somewhere safe. Away from electricity, away from anything where it can be affected by that kind of stuff, so that if anything, a time I need it, then I can power it up using one of Nick's crystal batteries, if I have to. A solar powered thing, and one of our battery sets that we've got.
Also, get a metal cage where you can put it into.
Yep. Faraday cage. Yep. No, that's what I say.
Microwaves, just FYI, a microwave is a natural Faraday cage. So if you have a broken down microwave, guess what?
I have one. I was joking about that the other day. I was joking about that the other day. Get an old microwave, and I'm gonna just put some concrete in there, and then just put that'll be my safe. My safe. God knows I haven't used a microwave in 10 years, so it would be funny. Yeah, but all you need to do, Deb, is just go to a dump. Go to a dump and get a broken microwave. That's all you need. Is just a compartment to put shit in. It's nice and easy.
Oh my God, did you know that over here in Germany, you have these places, these recycle holes, so to speak, where you can bring your stuff that you recycle, like old mattresses, wood, till electronics and shit. And they have a law now, because it is so fucking hilarious. If you bring an electronic article over there, it's theirs. But if you would dare to go and see a new computer that is sort of broken, and you think, oh, maybe I can salvage the hard drive, maybe I can salvage the RAM or the graphics
card or something, works.
Exactly. It is now a crime to take it from them, because they're gonna recycle it and make money from it, while they fucking assholes are actually shipping this shit not to the recycling plant, but into a third world country where they receive some money, where they can salvage some shit from there, and that's why it's called legal now. Oh.
When I lived in Toronto, and I'm sure in most of North America, you guys will know what I'm talking about. You have like once a month, or even once a season, you have the large garbage day, where you can put furniture out on the curb, where you can put bigger things out on the curb besides your usual waste. In Toronto, there are people who did it all the time, who would get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and drive around with trucks to the neighborhoods where they know it's their large waste day and pick up furniture, pick up all kinds of stuff like this off the curb. And they'd take it and they'd fix it up and they'd sell it. They'd have like secondhand shops and they'd sell it. I used to always say, more power to them. Awesome. Take it off the street where it's going to go to a landfill, fix it up and resell it. I'm sure someone will love it. Perfect.
Exactly. I mean, that's why I love
get this, Bossy. They tried to pass a law in Toronto that once you put your garbage on the street corner, it's no longer yours. It belongs to the city. And if anyone comes along and takes a piece of garbage off the curb, they're stealing.
You know, it's funny because over here it's the other way around. It is yours as long as you put it out there. In time they pick it up. But if someone puts anything there that doesn't belong to you and wasn't noted on the list that you told them the stuff you'd put out there, it goes now in your possession. So there could be an asshole putting their washing machine, their dryer, and their refrigerator out there, and it's not yours. They don't pick it up. Now it is yours, and you're responsible for the shit.
I know. And it's the asinine shit like this. It's just like, I don't... Well, same thing. Yeah, you can't forage in the dump here in Gozo. We used to go to the dump here in Gozo all the time because people would throw out furniture, antique furniture, all the time. I had a collection of brass headboards, incredible stuff. And there was all Victorian brass headboards from beds that I was going to actually build a fence out of them. Now you're not allowed to do that. You can't go up to the dump. They can dump the shit there, but you're not allowed to go up there and actually, take anything. They would rather just burn it. Yep. Just burn it. But that's why I free cycle. And I've always, every community I've ever lived in, I've been really, really big on working within the free cycle community. And I do that all the time. And that's one of the things I always say, everyone should get out there and get into their free cycle and start working within that community. Because you can get great stuff and everyone's got shit that they don't need anymore. And you can just put it on there and say, hey, I've got this. Does anyone need it? So it's a way to fuck the man. Fuck the asshole who's trying to charge us all this shit money and taxes and stuff. Free cycle everything. It's the way it should be. So I'm really tired, guys. I'm going to say goodnight to you all. The movie this Sunday is Extinction, which was released on Netflix in 2018. As I said, it's kind of not a comfortable movie. It brings up some big questions that people have been like, I don't like this. But it's interesting. It's yet another interesting skew, if you will. Another interesting skew to everything that's going on. So we're doing that Sunday night. And that's about it. That's about all I have to say for the moment. It's all fucked. We have no idea what's going on, and I'm just as fucked up and lost as the rest of everyone. So that's pretty much it.
Hey, look at it this way. If we all wake up, we all just happen to spontaneously wake up in an alternate reality or something, I'm for it. I kind of don't care anymore. You know what I mean? You just don't care.
Don't even literally, Star. I'm the same thing. I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm fine. You want to throw me in another fucking alternate reality? Just fucking do it. Just.
If we all end up there, maybe not all at the same time, but if we all end up there at some point, it's like, fuck it. I'm going with it. If it feels okay, hell with it.
Yeah. So if we all end up in a different reality, we're all going to run around, and instead of doing the Marco Polo thing, we'll all be going, unfuckers, and waiting for someone to go, unite, unfuckers, unite.
I'll be okay if I wake up in my virtual reality pod and, I'll be in there like, oh, you've been here for like 20 years. I may be like, okay, how is that possible? No, but so when you were talking about the free cycling, I thought that song, Keep On Rocking in a Free World. I was thinking, keep on free cycling in a free world.
That's right. Got to do what you can to bypass all the taxations and the rules and the laws. Free cycle is a great way of doing that. And barter. Barter and free cycle. It's the way everything should be.
Thank you for bringing that last part up, because that's what I'm feeling anymore, that rebellious type of spirit that we're all supposed to have. It's like, yeah, I don't give a shit about all these ridiculously stupid things that are happening and these laws and shit. I'm like, that's not part of who I am. That's not me. No, not any of us.
Yep. I'm going to be sitting on that exact topic, Star. I'm going to be sitting down and doing recording with my buddy Mike, who you guys met Sunday night, who I affectionately call Gilga Mike. Mike has had a very interesting journey, especially in the last 5 years, living homeless in Spain for 5 years. He has got some really interesting things to say. So I'm going to do a quiet, just him and one-on-one between him and I over the next day or two, and then I'll put that video out for you guys too. He's got an interesting perspective, and I think we could all learn quite a bit from it. Quite a bit. And that's it for me, guys. I'm going to go to bed. I love you all. I love you all. And I don't know if we're still streaming or if we dropped the stream again, but good night, everyone out in Streamland.
Night, night, D. Love
Good night,
yous.
Danny.
And one small step for man.